1, 2, 3, 4.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
No hotter policy cauldron in our laboratory of states than Virginia right now. And I really couldn't be more pleased to see the level of interest. We're really proud to put Virginia out front. And I do hope that everyone is dialed in either now or later because the steps that they're taking are repeatable. And I think it's my personal belief that they have a very good prospect of working very well. They're not reinventing the wheel. We know how to do redevelopment grant programs. We have some terrific folks from US EPA's highly successful brownfield grant program later in the program, and they're going to be dialing you in on how they get to 20-to-1 leverage return through that program. So for every $1 that Uncle Sam has invested through the US EPA brownfield grant program, it's leveraged $20 of total capital for real local project level investment into redevelopment projects. So again, I just want to thank our hosts, Virginia DEQ, Virginia DME, the West Virginia Brownfield Assistance Center, and Appalachian Voices. And I also want to thank our host, Dominion Energy, BQ Energy, as well as Monarch Vegetation Services. We couldn't provide this event for free. And a huge thanks to the tremendous team behind this event. Some of them, you can see their beautiful faces on the screen. Vince and Carrie, you've met. You can see Kelsey there, who actually fought through COVID last week, if you can believe that. She's a historic preservation person, but she's really a believer in the Renaissance now, and we couldn't get her to stop. So thank you, Kelsey, Nicole as well. And with that, I'd like to introduce our first keynote speaker from Dominion Energy, Emil Avram. He's their Vice President of Business Development. And if we can get Emil on this screen, thank you. Good morning, Emil. How are you today?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Better than I thought I'd be 15 years ago, as I mentioned. Just waiting on your video here, but we're all hip to the Zoom game now, so bear with us, please.
Excellent. Sorry about that. My video was giving me fits and starts here this morning. Well, thank you for the intro. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 2021 Virginia Solar Summit. I'm thrilled to be part of this exciting program that our great hosts, the Virginia Department of Environmental Quality, the Virginia Department of Mines, Minerals, and Energy, Appalachian Voices, and the West Virginia Brownfields Assistance Centers have curated for you. Looking through the agenda, I think you will agree there are a great number of experts and leaders in the solar energy field that will share their knowledge over the next 3 days. There's surely a diversity of topics to be discussed, from permitting to brownfield development to sustainability solutions to land use, power purchase agreements, and even national and state program overviews related to solar energy development on greenfield or brownfield sites. I'm honored to kick off the summit and event today and would like to leave you with some thoughts on the broad opportunities and challenges that lie ahead, and then announce our company's upcoming RFP seeking additional renewable and energy storage solutions at the end. But first, I would like to congratulate Virginia Governor Ralph Northam, Virginia Senator Jennifer McClellan, and the Virginia Legislature for taking a bold step to make Virginia a clean energy leader in the United States. And nowhere else in the country is there such a clear path provided in a manner that capitalizes on the benefits of the regulatory construct here in Virginia, with your vertically integrated electric utilities who can put capital to work in the most efficient manner for customers, while ensuring the balance of low cost, reliable, sustainable energy. So I did want to mention the data really is abundantly clear that in recent human history, industrial progress has led to the greater emissions of greenhouse gases such as CO2 and will result in global climate change if we don't do something about it. This doesn't mean that we have to stop human progress, but it does mean that we should recognize and acknowledge the causes and effects of our actions and continue to be ever more innovative to solve these challenges before it becomes something much larger that we cannot reverse. We should do this for our future generations, if not for ourselves. Next slide, please. So illustrated on this slide, which is something that many of you have probably seen, is the current concentration of 410 parts per million of CO2 in the atmosphere, which is much higher than it has been since the last 4 ice age and warming cycles that occurred in the last 400,000 years. You can see the 4 cycles that have occurred there on the left-hand side of the chart. We need to slow and ultimately reverse this trend. So, pivoting back to what I was mentioning, we need to accomplish and transform our electric system in a manner that is pragmatic, cost-effective, beneficial to communities, and allows human progress and the economy to grow and thrive at the ever-increasing pace. That's a tough balancing act. Sometimes those are at odds with one another, but we need to continue to drive solutions forward. The Virginia Clean Economy Act of 2020 is a major step in doing just that, driving solutions forward. While no rules are perfect, this legislation creates a clear path for Virginia's 2 incumbent investor-owned electric utilities, Dominion Energy Virginia and Appalachian Power Company, to accelerate their investments in low-cost, clean energy infrastructure and achieve 100% zero carbon emissions by 2045 or 2050. Next slide, please. And I don't use the word low cost lightly that I just mentioned. Utility scale solar energy is now the least cost option of all power generation technologies available to us to deploy today. I would not have been able to say that just a few years ago. So a summary of the Virginia Clean Economy Act as it pertains to our company is summarized here on this slide. And as many of you know, this cannot be accomplished without the help and support of hundreds of businesses, organizations, and governments along the way, such as state agencies, local governments, solar project developers, equipment and technology providers, landowners, construction contractors, environmental and technical consultants, PJM interconnection, non-governmental organizations, law firms, the Virginia State Corporation Commission, the public, and I can go on and on. But with major transformational change also comes great challenges. For example, if you add up all the clean energy infrastructure we plan to build or procure through 2045, it totals over 40,000 megawatts, which is about twice the capacity of our current system. This will require us to rethink our transmission and distribution grid because we can't enable that quantity of power generation on the system without expanding how we get it to customers. We were also reminded recently with the cold snap in Texas that electric reliability is also paramount importance, not only for a vibrant economy, but also for our safety and well-being. Our electric system is just that, a system. And if certain components of that system do not work when needed, the system can break down. It will be important in Virginia to develop solutions that maintain the near perfect electric reliability that we all enjoy. As more renewable energy is added to the grid, those complementary solutions, such as energy storage, advanced nuclear, green hydrogen, and other new zero carbon technologies will be ripe for wide-scale deployment. My father always used to tell me as a kid that too much of one thing is never good. And that can be said for our electric power system as well. That system performs well when diverse technologies are deployed, each serving one or two key purposes, such as least cost, or fast starting, or base load, or environmental solutions. Generally, the rule has been the more diverse, the more reliable the service, or too much of one thing has diminishing returns. So as we look to deploy over 30,000 megawatts of solar in Virginia, we will also be looking for ways to maintain electric reliability in a way that is affordable to customers. And again, we'll need your help to do that over the next 2 decades. So now let's shift to the opportunities enabled by the VCEA. The one that excites me the most are the opportunities that will be available to the local communities, counties, and municipalities that host these projects. Over the next couple of decades, tens of billions of dollars will be invested in solar, energy storage, offshore wind, nuclear license extensions, and other new technologies that will emerge. This will be an economic boom for Virginia. This is a moment for the localities to seize the opportunities. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that should not lightly be passed over. There will be a tremendous expansion in opportunities for jobs, whether direct, indirect, or induced, job training opportunities, workforce education, and transition opportunities. Counties are recognizing the coming opportunity. For example, in rural Goochland County, where I have lived for 20 years, the public school system is planning to deploy an energy academy focused on clean energy technologies for high school students in this next upcoming school year to begin training the next generation of energy workers looking to get into the construction trades, technical and engineering fields, operations and asset management, finance or accounting, law, or other related fields. This is one of the most exciting opportunities that localities can seize and leverage for the benefit of their communities and citizens. And I should also mention that the additional property tax or revenue sharing opportunities that are coming are also a wonderful benefit. We may even have future manufacturing and service sector companies come to Virginia in the future as a result of the VCEA. So for those of you listening who are influencers and decision makers within local government, I encourage you to give strong consideration to a solar project being proposed in your community. Your support not only helps us meet the VCEA goals in the most cost-effective manner for customers, it also creates a stronger local economy by creating jobs and increasing local revenues. Please don't pass up the opportunity. So what will our company's generation mix look like in the future, say in 2035? Next slide. So this slide provides a peek into that future and includes our entire electric generation fleet actually in Virginia, North Carolina, West Virginia, and South Carolina in total. By 2035, on the right-hand side, it shows that we expect about 70% of the electricity we generate to come from zero carbon emissions resources, and we intend to meet our company-wide goal of net zero carbon and methane emissions by 2050. I just read this morning that Virginia ranked 4th among US states for total solar generation capacity installed in 2020, with more than 1.4 gigawatts of new capacity added, according to an analysis by the Solar Energy Industries Association and Wood Mackenzie. For comparison, 1.4 gigawatts is slightly more output than Dominion Energy's gas-fired Brunswick Power Station, which began service in April 2016 and powers approximately 340,000 homes. Much of that growth in Virginia came from large-scale solar farms. And Virginia saw incredible growth in the utility scale sector in 2020, which accounted for the majority of its new additions last year. Okay, so now I would like to shift to what Dominion Energy has specifically been doing in the solar energy space. Next slide. This slide illustrates our solar portfolio we have in operation or development across the US. Overall, we rank third among our utility peers for owned solar facilities in operation or development. We now have about 2,300 megawatts of solar in operation in the US and another almost 4,000 megawatts in development, most of that being in Virginia. Since the time the governor signed the Virginia Clean Economy Act, we've been very active working several key initiatives. First, we restructured and expanded some of our teams to align with the VCEA's programs and technology lanes, such as solar, offshore wind, energy storage, distributed energy resources, etc., within both our development and construction organizations. We initiated a major real estate acquisition program to secure options and rights to develop solar and storage on private land near existing transmission lines. And I'm pleased to report that as of this week, we've acquired rights to over 85,000 acres of land throughout the Commonwealth and expect to hit 100,000 acres by the end of this month. 100,000 acres. That is about 2.5 times the size of the city of Richmond. That's enough land for up to 10,000 megawatts of solar if all of it were to be utilized. We've been successfully campaigning and working with landowners, large and small, throughout Virginia to achieve these levels with great success. And we've been steadily working to begin developing those properties for solar and storage future use. Last October, we filed our first application after the VCEA was enacted to the Virginia State Corporation Commission for nearly 500 megawatts of solar projects and power purchase agreements, along with our longer-term plan on how we expect to achieve the VCEA goals. And we're busy getting the next group of solar and storage projects ready for an application to the Commission later this summer. So in conclusion, the Virginia legislature has defined what needs to be done, and it has handed all of us a tremendous economic opportunity. It's now up to all of us to make it happen while still delivering affordable, reliable, and sustainable electricity to our customers. The future is bright. Lastly, as I mentioned, I would like to announce that Dominion Energy Virginia, similar to last year, intends to release the 2021 Solar, Onshore Wind, and Energy Storage RFP on Thursday, April 29th. The solicitation will seek up to 1,000 megawatts of solar and onshore wind, which includes both development project acquisitions and long-term PPAs. For the first time, distributed energy resources, or DER, will be issued simultaneously, seeking up to 100 megawatts, with project sizes required to be 3 megawatts or less. Going forward, the DER solar solicitation will be issued together with the large-scale renewable and storage solicitation. Based on the success of last year's informational webinar, we anticipate conducting a webinar in June following the RFP issuance to review that RFP and answer any questions with potential bidders. Some additional notable changes from prior solicitations are, number one, the inclusion of projects we are seeking that are located on previously developed or brownfield sites. And number two, a request that bidders include an environmental justice and community outreach summary in their proposals. So I want to finish with a short 3-minute video that our communications team has developed promoting the development of solar energy in the Commonwealth and the communities we serve. I think you will enjoy it. Thank you again for giving me your time this morning as the keynote speaker, and enjoy the summit. Thank you.
Thank you, Emil. That was terrific and newsmaking and literally groundbreaking. I love so much of that. It's real now. So let's build. It's the pipeline. We don't need any more patents, any more innovations. This is all being baked in this cake, and I couldn't be more excited for what it really means for everyone in Virginia, especially if we can do it all. Really seize the moment, as you kind of alluded to, collaborate. You know, it's really, I think about this, I've been paying attention to this for a long time, and really just the end of the beginning. And now as we scale, it's up to us to grow how we choose to grow. The future is bright. The future is as bright as we build it, as bright as we will build it. And we will. So let's do that. Yeah. Thank you, Emil. We look forward to more of the RFP. Yeah. And really appreciate Dominion plugging in, pun intended, and to see your commitment. We know you have a lot of work to do. It's a heavy lift for everyone, and not least of which you guys, but we know that your entire team, it's been great to get to know some of you guys this time around. We have a lot of you, obviously all of your teams are working on this. We have several different members representing the diverse group within Dominion, sprinkled kind of throughout our program. And we're really looking forward to all their different perspectives to see how we're actually going to take this down. So with that, yeah, thank you. Yeah, Emil, let me ask you just any final thoughts before we say goodbye?
No, well, first of all, thank you, Dan, for emceeing the event. We really appreciate that, and really appreciate, you know, all of the other sponsors that have helped put this together and support the event. It's a great annual event, and I encourage all of you attending to make the most out of it. You know, get everything you can from it. There are a lot of great speakers who we've worked with in the past. We've got, you know, some of my team involved on other panels as well, as you mentioned, and you know, they're going to provide some really good information about how to get involved, how to participate, and become part of this clean energy transformation here in the Commonwealth. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Emil. And thank you, Dominion. Yeah, and all of our sponsors and all of our stakeholders. Don't adjust your dials. The good news is coming. It won't be on television today or radio. And it might be a little wonky, a little nerdy. We're detail oriented here. But if you want to see how the Renaissance will be built, stay tuned and plug in afterwards, because as I mentioned at the top, and it's worth repeating, we're recording live. You'll be able to come back and see, but we're also going to distribute all the presentations and some bonus materials and something we lovingly call the knowledge binder, a huge takeaway. This is an ongoing conversation, living like our Constitution. The work is happening every day, and you know, we'll keep our blog active. We'll be sharing different sessions throughout the summer that you'll see here today, and that knowledge binder will be floating on hard drives ever after as a reference material. So look forward to all that substance. Again, I want to thank Emil and Dominion for dropping all that solar steak into our session. There's a lot of sizzle on this. That RFP is big news, and I know a lot of you are licking your chops. So let's get to this awesome video, and then we'll pick it up on the other side. Awesome. I said steak and sizzle, and that was the music. That was the soundtrack that I needed. Thank you. And it's great to see that professional TikTok, all the different bullets, the diversity of the potential gains here and the opportunities are really obvious and objectively apparent. And I think that's why we've seen such tremendous bipartisan support for brownfield redevelopment for the last 20 years. One of these beloved programs that through thick and thin, from administration to administration, no matter what, always seems to sail through unopposed. And we're seeing a similar type of thing translate into Brightfield redevelopment, including HB 1925, Delegate Terry Kilgore's bill, which just sailed through the Virginia legislature unopposed last month and sits on the governor's desk. We'll get to that. We've got a great policy panel coming right up. I want to bring my co-host Vince Maiden back into the conversation and get his instant reaction on everything he's heard so far and what Dominion's about to do in that fantastic video.
Well, the thing I'm always most excited about is brownfields, right? I'm the brownfields guy. So the fact that Dominion and Appalachian Power, AEP, have made commitments to developing brownfields and made it a part, thanks to the Virginia Clean Economy Act, a part of what they're doing and really have taken it serious kind of excites me. And I think there's a lot of developers that are really taking on the extra challenges of brownfields, which I think sometimes are overestimated. And that's why you need to talk to Meade and myself. But I think this can be done in a responsible way. We can divert a lot of ag land that could have been developed into solar, went on a brownfield instead. And I think that excites the community instead of riling up opposition to solar development. So I think there's a lot of great changes and a lot's happened since 2019. And I think there's a lot more going to happen on the policy side. So I'm really excited about the policy panel that's coming up. The Greater Virginia Policy Panel, and having a multi-state view, I think is really, really, really cool. So.
Yeah, the substance really translates. We have these sites everywhere. We have 500,000 abandoned mines on the books in the United States. And of course, we have mines all over. I know some of our friends are dialing in from China there in the evening.